Welcome to Helpful Humans, the podcast about people who are creating good in our world by helping and empowering others. I'm Kim Drobes, and I'm honored to share these stories with you. They get to the heart of who we are as human beings while exploring our inherent desire to make a difference.
I was so cold, and like when the wind hits, my face felt like it was gonna fall off. And then once it started snowing and there was snow on the ground, it was really hard to like go over it with my bike. The ice, dang, it was really hard because I knew if I slipped and fell, like that would be super rough. So I made sure to go super slow, and so it would take a much longer time to get to work.
That very cold teenager is Hokule'a Taniguchi, a native of Hawaii who's been living in Appleton, Wisconsin. Her friends call her Hoku for short. She's 19, and she's been working at her local Chick-fil-A since arriving in the Midwest this past fall.
When I first started working, I was a little shy, but it was so heartwarming because like everyone around me that was already working there, they were like so nice to me and so like welcoming, and they just say hi to me every day. Like especially coming from Hawaii, it's like all aloha spirit and like everyone's super friendly. Like I didn't really think that was going to be here on the mainland. And the more I started working with the people, the more like we became friends and like making actual relationships. It was just so easy to make friends with them because they're all just so nice.
One of those nice people was Haley Bridges, a 17-year-old who hadn't been working at the restaurant long when Hoku joined the team. And quickly, the two became best friends. Here's Haley.
We kind of started talking between our shifts, not much really. But then she asked me to like hang out outside of work. And then that's when like our friendship really grew. So we hung out like almost every day. We kind of like introduced her to my friend group. We always go out and do stuff together.
Haley knew that Hoku had been biking to work, and she knew that it wasn't very pretty.
Oh gosh, it is awful. Lots of icy roads, snow. It's bad, not the best conditions to bike in. So she was like in a rough part of her life. So, and I'm like the type of person, like I see someone like this, I'm going to do my best to help them out in any way.
So around this time, the holidays were approaching and their bosses started to plan an employee appreciation gathering. In the past, these gatherings included a raffle, and a rumor started to go around that this year's grand prize was going to be a car. Hoku remembers well the first time she heard the rumor.
Like one of my friends was like, yeah, I think there's a car in the raffle. I was like, no way, that's so cool. Honestly, I was like, wow, a car, like that's crazy. And then one of my friends was like, hey, I'll put in a ticket for you because like you deserve that car, and like we all know you ride a bike and everything. And then all my other friends were like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. So they all agreed on putting a ticket in for me for the car.
And of course, her best friend Haley was one of those friends that offered to donate her ticket.
And like I told her prior, like if I get the car, it's going to go to you. She's super chill. So she was like, oh, that's like amazing. Like, when you say something, but you're not going to really believe it until it happens. It was kind of that. It was, I guess, because we weren't expecting that any of us would really win. It was just the thought that was out there.
But really, even just the thought was incredibly touching to Hoku.
I was just so shocked. I was like, wow, you'd really give away a car for me? Because like me and Haley, we're like sisters. And like we've talked about it like after just like us two about the car and everything. And so I definitely believed her, like 1,000%. And I was just blown away. I just was like, wow, these people are just amazing. And we're all so young there too. And so the fact that they're around my age, like 16, 17, 18, 19, I was like, wow, like bless your guys' soul. Like you're so genuinely nice. And I just couldn't believe it.
So as nice as that thought was, the reality was that Haley and her friends would be competing with a ton of other employees in that raffle. And frankly, the odds weren't in their favor. After the break, we'll hear how those odds played out and how multiple acts of generosity followed.
Hi, this is Sean, one of the producers here on Helpful Humans. If you're looking for more inspiring stories that highlight community and human connection, Then check out our sister podcast, Rochambeau. Rochambeau is the podcast about the world's most unique competitions and the amazing competitors that make them happen. With stories that celebrate both the quirky and the crazy, including barstool ski racing, competitive air guitar, and the search for the world's ugliest dog, Rochambeau is really fun, lighthearted, and always interesting. That's Rochambeau, spelt ROSHAMBO. Listen and subscribe today on your favorite podcast provider.
On the day of the holiday gathering, both Hoku and Haley were anxious to find out if the car giveaway rumors were actually true. Here's Hoku.
When I walk into the auditorium, my boss was right there, and he pulls me aside, and he was like, "Hey, did you see what's outside?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "There's a car out there." And I was like, "No way." And then I look at the raffle table, and there's an ornament of a car, and it says you can win the car, and you can put a ticket in there. And I was like, "No way. The rumor is actually true." Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're actually giving away a car.
Haley remembers it well too.
So we were sitting at our table, and they were just telling all who won the prizes. They did the car last, and we were all just kind of very scared because there's a lot of people that work at our Chick-fil-A. So our chances were very slim, and we were kind of just nervous about it. So one of our bosses, she kind of did the drum roll, please, and we're all we're all very scared. And she called out my name, and immediately I looked at Hoku, and just the moment was felt so surreal. We looked at each other, and it just felt like everyone around us just wasn't there. It was just insane. I started crying, she started crying, we ran up to each other and hugged each other, and just the moment was so surreal.
I was so shocked. So I look at Haley, and we both look at each other, and I stood up, and I just screeched and ran over to her, give her the biggest hug ever, and I was like, "I can't believe this is real." And then it hit me that I have a car now. There's so many more opportunities and possibilities for me. I can actually go safely to work. And so I just started crying because it was such a happy moment.
Doesn't that just remind you of a John Hughes movie in the very, very best way? The idea that a 17-year-old would be so generous and so empathetic to put her friends' needs first is filled with so much joy. But as any of you that have kids can probably guess, Haley's mom's initial reaction to her daughter giving away a car was a little less than joyful. Here's Anne, Haley's mom.
I got a message from her that said, "I want a car." And my first response was, "Yeah, what, a Matchbox?" Because I just couldn't believe it. And she said, "No, I want a car, but I gave it to Hoku." My answer was, "You did what?" Because I knew Haley was working hard to pay off her car. And as a mother, the first thing I think of is you could have sold it and you could have used the money to pay off your car. So that was my first initial thought.
Makes sense, right? As a mom, your first thought is always going to be about your own kid. But as Anne absorbed the reality, she started to fill with pride over her daughter's extreme act of generosity.
So after a few hours of thinking about this, I wasn't angry anymore. I started to realize that what Haley actually did was really a kind gesture, and messaged her, and I just said, "I'm sorry about how I reacted earlier, and I'm very proud of you." And it doesn't surprise me in the least that Haley actually did this. She's the type of person that if she saw a homeless person that needed shoes, I think she would make sure that person had her shoes. She's always been extremely generous and caring about other people's feelings.
And Haley's generosity has come back to her. After hearing Haley's story, her aunt decided to try and start a fundraiser for her to pay off Haley's car. And she succeeded. So now both Haley and Hoku have rides that are completely their own. As for Hoku, she's still overwhelmed with gratitude and the proud owner of a 2008 Hyundai Elantra.
I was just so grateful for it because now I can do so many more things that I want to do instead of having to depend on someone else or having to like struggle with the bike and having to like leave so much earlier because of the snow. And I'm so grateful for it, and I'm just so happy.
Thanks so much for sharing part of your day with us and for listening to this Helpful Humans episode. If you enjoy the podcast, please consider giving us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Theme music for Helpful Humans is provided by the amazing K. Michelle Dubois. Check out all of Michelle's latest offerings on her website at kmichelledubois.com. Follow us on Facebook at Helpful Humans Podcast, where you can see updates to stories that we've covered and perhaps suggest a story of your own. Thanks for listening.